Stonemover is a side character commonly overlooked in the Wings of Fire community. There are only 2 completed maps today with him in the title, one of which is a shipping map with him and Thorn, and the other one I participated in. Go and watch it, please. Despite the fandom's lack of interest in him, he is a very complex character with a vivid backstory. He was an animus who ran away from his tribe to find love, but ultimately ended up abandoning her and turning his scales to stone to pay for his crimes. There's a lot of mystery surrounding him. One day, all that may be addressed in a Thorn and Stonemover novel that Chewie can't stop teasing us about. But until then, all we can do is speculate, which I, of course, am going to be doing in this video, so buckle up and enjoy. Before we get started, if you are new to this channel, please think about subscribing. I regularly post both Wings of Fire and Warrior Cats content, so you'll never be bored. And to my current subscribers, thank you so much for supporting me. I wouldn't have gone here without y'all. Now, let's begin with what we do know about Stonemover, which admittedly isn't much. Stonemover was raised on the Nightwing Island, where there was minimal resources. At some point, it was discovered that he was an animus, and he was made to take on the task of making a tunnel to the rainforest and the Sand Kingdom to pave the path for an eventual invasion. While he was there in the Sand Kingdom, he fell in love with Thorn, a Sandwing. However, he realized his own animus abilities were corrupting him, so he fell out of contact with her and ran away, deciding it was for the best for both of them. Unbeknownst to him, Thorn had an egg at that time. He then went to Jade Mountain and decided to change his curse so that instead of losing his mind like most animuses, he would instead gain stone scales. He tried to send a message to Thorn because he felt remorseful for ghosting her, but the message was intercepted so it never reached her, and she was left believing that she was just ghosted by him. During this time, Stonemover became a contact for the Talons of Peace, and was used primarily to exchange letters. It is unknown how this occurred or what else happened during this time. Thorn eventually found the letter meant for her when her outlaws invaded Burn's stronghold and found the scroll. His daughter, now almost a fully grown dragon named Sunny, made her way to Jade Mountain. When she expressed how much he wanted to end the war and her plans for it, he was quick to shut her down, showing his cynical side. However, he did wish her luck once he understood that she wasn't just being naive and understood the prophecy wasn't real. After the war ended, he met back up with Thorn. However, they didn't fall back in love again and decided to go their separate ways. Sunny also established Jade Mountain Academy on Jade Mountain. He is visited by a student there named Moon, who asks him about animus powers, and he tells her that they are lost for a good reason and that if she had any, they would ruin her life. Unbeknownst to him, she had magical powers too. Another student comes to visit him, Flame, who repeatedly tries to convince him to heal his face, which is scarred, to refusals. After Darkstalker heals his face, Flame tries to kill Stonemover. It is unknown whether this was from him already disliking Stonemover and getting upset that being healed didn't happen sooner, or whether Darkstalker enchanted him to kill Stonemover to eliminate the competition. Darkstalker heals Stonemover, but it also makes it so his stone scales turn back to normal. Stonemover is incredibly fearful of this. Here's the passage. "Hello," Darkstalker said. "You're alright now." "Who are you?" Stonemover croaked in his dust-colored voice. "An ancestor of yours," said Darkstalker, "returned from the dead, so we have that in common. My name is Darkstalker." "No," whispered Stonemover, his eyes widening. "Don't be scared," Moon said quietly. "He's not here to hurt us." "He saved your life," Sunny added. She rested one of her small talons on Stonemover's petrified shoulder, a tiny island of gold among all the black scales in the cave. "With magic?" Stonemover said, sounding half panicked. "No, you can't! It's wrong! My claws, they're not mine!" His eyes rolled wildly towards his talons, and Turtle saw the stone cracking all along his arms, crumbling to release the scales underneath. "What do you mean?" Sunny asked. "What's wrong?" "These aren't my claws!" Stonemover shrieked. "What are they doing? Stop them! Somebody stop them!" Bewildered, Sunny pounced on one of his front talons. Darkstalker dropped the stalactite and gently pinned the other. "Don't panic," he said. "You've had a shock. Someone tried to kill you, but you're safe now. Your petrified skills are healing, that's all. You're not used to being able to feel your limbs anymore. In a moment, all the rock will be gone, and you'll be back to normal." "They're not mine," Stonemover said again in a low, desperate voice. Tension radiated through his muscles, down his arms to the claws that twitched and twitched, breaking free. "No, I gave mine up. My talons are gone. These are monsters crawling out of the earth, and they will rend the sky and crush the wings of small dragons, and I can't let them. I won't let them be used again." His voice rose and rose to an agonized roar. The head-splitting sound pounded images of blood and death and slashing claws through Turtle's brain. "Do you trust your talons? Do you trust them, do you?" "Stop him!" Moon shouted to Darkstalker. "He's trying to use his magic to hurt himself!" Mind Reader had her talons over her ears and was huddled in a ball on the cave floor. Darkstalker took Stonemover's head in his claws and forced the roaring dragon to meet his gaze. "Calm down," he said in a voice that shook the mountain. Stonemover's voice dropped away. He stared back at Darkstalker. I'm healing you, Darkstalker said. That's all. Don't, Stonemover whispered. It's not safe. You don't have to punish yourself for being an animus. Darkstalker flicked his tail, frowning. You're allowed to be whole, to be happy. The statement, my claws don't feel like my own, may be a reference to how Darkstalker has a spell on everyone, or maybe more literal as he's so used to his claws being stone that feeling normal is wrong. Or maybe Darkstalker was trying a secondary enchantment once again. In this instance though, Darkstalker is absolutely right. Stonemover is using his curse to punish himself, if not for what he has done or being an animus dragon, then for what his actions may have resulted in. The genocide and conquering of the Rainwings. He's the polar opposite of Darkstalker, who did almost commit genocide on the Icewings and felt no remorse. A bit later in the same chapter, Moon analyzes his psyche. Stonemover rolled his eyes towards his tail, where more rock was crumbling away. I can't be free, he said. I don't know what I might do. Cage me again, leave me in stone. It's the only way to be safe. He means it, Moon said to Darkstalker. She edged around the pool of blood to catch some of the falling pebbles from the old dragon's wings. He's terrified of his power, of his own claws, of any dark magic. His mind is shredding itself to pieces. Yeah, and it's giving me the worst headache, Mind Reader complained. All this fear, Darkstalker said with a sigh. I've seen it before, he brightened. Maybe I can fix it. The right spell could take all this worry. No, Sunny and Stonemover said at the same time, looking equally alarmed. No spells on my brain, Stonemover said, his voice rising towards panic again. Why not? Darkstalker asked with genuine bewilderment. If it would make you happier, he turned towards Moon. Isn't it alright to make other dragons happier if you can? Not if they don't want you to, she said gently. But they should want me to, he said. It makes no sense. He lifted his wings and shrugged, nearly whacked Turtle in the nose. Fine, alright, I'll leave him in his misery. What Darkstalker isn't considering here is that Stonemover is happy like this. He feels like he is getting the punishment he deserves for being a bad dragon. It's also strange that Darkstalker recommended the exact same enchantment that Fathom shot down. It goes to show that he tends not to learn from his mistakes very well. And also when someone executes the same thing on him, the Peacemaker's spell, he isn't that happy about it. Darkstalker then keeps an imprisoned flame in the cave with Stonemover, which is like the worst idea ever, but I think that's the point, as he was trying to wear down Stonemover enough mentally that he would submit to his whims and be healed. That's the last time we see him, though we do hear about him a few times, such as when they are planning an escape plan for the dragons in Jade Mountain Academy. I feel like the most important part of any character has to be the name. Stonemover's name tells us a lot about him. The act of stone moving could refer to him creating the tunnels and physically moving stone to do so. It could also reference how he has to move the stone scales on his body in order to do anything. Both of these things are stone related, but maybe the true moving stone is the role of stone in Stonemover's life. That was a lot of moving stones I just said there. He grew up on a volcanic rocky island where nothing else grew and went to the kingdom of sand. And sand is just finer stone if you really think about it. After that, he ended up in a cave again surrounded by stone with stone on his scales. What I find truly interesting is that his name isn't just an action too, like Darkstalker, someone who stalks in the dark, or Moonwatcher, one who watches the moon, or anything I just mentioned. It's actually an allusion to a myth that we have in our world. The myth of Sisyphus is about a notorious trickster who imprisoned Death when he came to take him. Eventually, Ares showed up and took both Death and him back to the underworld, but Sisyphus had told his wife beforehand not to do the normal burial rituals for him. Because of that, he was able to return to the mortal world to punish her, and he stayed there until he died of old age. Sisyphus had cheated Death twice, and so when he really died, he was punished and forced to roll a boulder up a hill for all of eternity. When it reached the top, it would just roll down that hill back to the bottom. This situation is pretty comparable to Stonemover. Stonemover betrayed the laws of nature when he made the tunnels, and also may have caused the future conquering and genocide of the Rainwing tribe by making them. He then gained stone scales and punishment for his crimes. The punishment he had was not inflicted on him by any god though. It was inflicted by Stonemover himself. But is he really much different than a god? Animus dragons can control the whims of others, change their forms, mass murder, really anything a god can do. The only difference from that is that animus dragons are mortal. They can die. It is the one separation from total control that drives some of the animus dragons in the series, their mortality and the legacy they leave behind. Diamond was obsessed with preserving her legacy and lineage, even if she had to kill a few of her descendants to do so. Jerboa wanted to create her own legacy through her daughters. Darkstalker even tried to make himself immortal to escape death. Even Turtle, an animus who is considered to be one of the most moral in the series, made himself invulnerable to physical attacks on accident. Stonemover, on the other hand, was planning on having no children, and even enchanted himself to slowly die, an acceptance of his own mortality. He denies that the fundamental meaning of Animus magic is to live, to leave anything of significance behind, and he instead curses his creations, the tunnels, and curses himself to die and leave nothing behind besides a hunk of stone. Stonemover is pretty much an anti-Animus. He will die unlike most Animus dragons, and is cursed to do so, a curse that has no function or end goal in mind, that he himself instituted. Stonemover's ultimate power is the lack of it, accepting his own fate, and that he has no control in life besides his own death. Now that we've finished with me info dumping about how much I love Greek mythology, here are some headcanons and theories I have surrounding his character, most of which are inspired by the legend we just discussed. Stonemover started off on the Nightwing Island, as we already know. He admired Morrowseer a lot growing up for his plan to save the tribe. When it was discovered that he was an Animus, he was eager to go along with Morrowseer's plans. He'd never been off the island before, so he at first relies on Morrowseer to help him around. But as he makes more trips to figure out how to construct the tunnels, he begins venturing on his own even more. One day he's walking around a scorpion den. Something bad happens to him, but he's saved by Thorn. He asks him what a Nightwing is doing around there, and he's vague. The two fall in love though, and he tries to keep his relationship away from Morrowseer. However, he accidentally lingers too far from where he's supposed to be one night, and the two are caught together. Thorn is almost killed by Morrowseer, but Stonemover heals her and brings her back from the brink of death. Morrowseer tells Stonemover he knows why he's been delaying everything now, and he must get the tunnels done, otherwise he will finish the job and kill her. Stonemover does so, even though in the back of his mind he's thinking about killing Morrowseer instead, and he fears for Thorn's life, and he runs away without ever looking back. He remembers Morrowseer's old contacts, the Talons of Peace, and they help him find a place to hide and work as a messenger in Jade Mountain. Stonemover realizes that he's been acting more rash and impulsive with his magic lately, and fears that he's becoming just like Darkstalker. So he makes up the Stone Scales curse and sends a letter to Thorn. That's just my far-fetched theory of what could have happened though. Don't quote me on anything. Stonemover overall is a character with a lot of wiggle room for a truly excellent backstory. I hope 2B gets around to doing something with him in the future. If you like this video, feel free to subscribe. I make Wings of Fire and Warrior Cats videos pretty often, and your support would mean a lot to me. And to those who are already subscribed, thank you for your continued support. I wouldn't have gone here without y'all. Without further ado, peace out.